Welcome back, everyone. Today I figured I'd explore a rather short topic that hopefully shouldn't take up too much time. I'm hard at work on a video for Halloween, but I didn't want to keep everyone waiting for an extra week with silence on my end. Though, if you want to stay caught up on any scheduling conflicts and changes, feel free to follow me on Twitter. That way you'll always know when videos are going to be late or early or whatever. These days, it's more than safe to say that we live in an always online, connected world. Where, when I first got my 360, I didn't even sign into Xbox Live until a couple years after I bought the system, my PS4 is genuinely always online. Obviously, game developers are now designing games and mechanics around this idea. It's not really an exaggeration to say that almost every game has at least one feature that can't be accessed without being online, whether we're talking about the entire game, like with Overwatch, or if we're just talking about the time attack leaderboards in Sonic Mania. While I myself am not bothered by this, as long as the game has good reason for forcing online integration with any given feature, it does come with a problem. What happens when the servers for that game are shut down? Overwatch can't be played when not online. At all. The game has AI bots in it, but you can't play with or against them offline. So from a consumer standpoint, that $60 plus that you spent becomes useless once the game dies. I'm personally someone who believes the experience is more important than the actual object, so I don't think losing access to the game automatically means the money was wasted. But the point is that anything you bought is revoked once the game becomes unplayable. From a design standpoint though, I feel like the repercussions are much larger. When Overwatch goes offline, Overwatch as an experience ceases to exist. I'm constantly astounded by the fact that so few publishers and developers seem interested in the preservation of their games. I'm fully aware that it can take a ton of extra work to future-proof an online experience, but do we really want something like Overwatch to become a mythical footnote in gaming history simply because nobody can access it? I mean, they have the modes and they have bots in the game, so why not allow you to play with them offline? But the problem doesn't always have to be related to the entire experience. Sure, Overwatch will be ruined completely when it goes offline, but what about something like Dark Souls or Demon's Souls? These games can be played in their entirety offline. They are single-player games after all, and you can play them like single-player games. But they also have many features that are fully integrated into the experience that require playing online to work well. Demon's Souls has a boss that becomes significantly less interesting offline because the boss is designed to be controlled by another player when playing online. Dark Souls 2 and 3 have similar integration with a couple of bosses. What about bloodstains that warn you about how other players died? What about messages that they can leave on the ground? I've heard people complain about the part in Dark Souls 1 where you're expected to climb up the buttresses into the shattered window in Anor Londo. Quite a few people complain that this is too cryptic, and those people are always playing offline. This section, as well as other parts of the design, were set up specifically to take advantage of the online world, where there are almost always messages pushing you toward the right direction. When connected as intended, this part is both breathtakingly engaging and totally fair. When offline, the design breaks down and becomes more of a problem than an interesting spatial reasoning challenge. It's really easy to get stuck here because you're not necessarily used to the idea of climbing up random objects that don't look like you should be able to interact with them. I'm aware, by the way, that there's a spell that makes developer messages more common, and I'm not sure if there are any here. But even still, any build that doesn't have that spell will run into issues. Or what about a game like White Knight Chronicles? A spiritual successor to Dark Cloud, White Knight Chronicles includes the Diorama system from that series, where you build your own city and fill it with stuff. But in White Knight, it's known as the GeoNet, an online version of the system where you can invite friends to your town. GeoNet servers were shut down in 2013. I bought the game in the beginning of 2016. Unfortunately, without access to GeoNet and the rest of the online features, the game is a glorified fetch quest. Clunky combat designed for 4-player co-op, massively empty maps, repetitive quest design, terrible balance that doesn't really work for just a single person, and all because the most unique part of the game was not designed to be accessible or usable to any real degree when offline. There's no offline rebalancing, and so the game itself just doesn't really work anymore, despite still technically being fully functional. This game is already dead. You can still technically use all of the features other than co-op, but the progression was designed for online play and doesn't function properly anymore. And this problem extends to White Knight Chronicles 2 as well, meaning both games are shells of their former selves. They've been lost to time, and they're not even a decade old. I don't personally understand outrage about this sort of thing. I feel that too many people don't know what it means to value the experiences they had, instead only focusing on the fact that they're losing something tangible after they've already had their fill. For me, I'm more upset that people in the future can't experience these games as they were designed, myself included. I'm upset that I can't see what White Knight Chronicles had to offer in its prime, and I'll be upset 20 years from now when Dark Souls servers are offline and I don't remember all the funny, interesting quirks that they had put in there designed for online play. Gran Turismo Sport just launched on the 17th, and nothing but the arcade mode is available offline. The game is designed purely to be an extremely serious esport, and they want to limit save hacking as much as possible, which is always a huge problem in sim racers. So even the livery and photo files you make are saved on the GT Sports servers, so nobody can access and modify any files for an unfair advantage. This game is not for the casual GT fan, or the casual racing fan. Heck, it's so hardcore that it's not even really for me, and I've spent thousands of hours playing this series. Eventually though, everything it has to offer will be lost. All of the amazing photos people take in Scapes mode, all of the beautiful liveries they craft, all of the cars, the races, the replays, half of the modes, all intrinsically designed to work under the context of a professional, online esport. All ticking time bombs that can disappear within the blink of an eye. Will we remember what Polyphony even tried to accomplish with GT Sport 10 or 20 years from now? Or will yet another game be lost to time? Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in another one, here's the last one that I uploaded. You can also follow me on Twitter or subscribe by hitting the subscribe button.